Hi everybody and welcome back to a new video on my channel. My name's Leora and I talk on here about books, reading, writing and sometimes other stuff as well. And today I am coming to you with a selection of your favourite cozy fantasy books. I've done one of these videos a long time ago where I asked you guys about your favourite books of that moment and then I shared those back to you. It's like a community thing. I love doing videos like this, and now that I'm completely in my cozy fantasy era, I thought what is a better idea than doing this again but cozy fantasy themed. So I went over on Instagram. My Instagram is at Leora Eileen. You can follow me on there if you would like to, and I asked you guys what are your cozy fantasy favourites of this moment. Which books do you absolutely love? Are you obsessed with? Would you recommend to me or any other cozy fantasy lovers out there? And I am coming to you with those books today. So let me grab my phone. I've already made a small selection. So I've looked through all of the books that were recommended and there's a few that I owned. So that's really fun. I mean, some of you guys read my recommendations, so it makes sense. But there's also a couple of books in there that I have not heard of or that I didn't really consider to be cozy fantasy, or I didn't know they were considered cozy fantasy. I'm really excited to dive into this, and yeah, let's get some cozy fantasy recommendations, you and me both. So one of the first books I saw recommended on here made me really excited because it's a book that I've recently found on Everand and I was planning on reading it, so it's really cool that one of you guys already considers it to be a favourite, because that definitely makes it rise up on my TBR list, although we all know I'm a mood reader and that TBR list is like, you know, it's a bit loosey-goosey. But the book I'm talking about is the Wimbrel House series, and then the first book, Keeper of Enchanted Rooms, and this series is by Charlie N. Hornburg. I saw this on Everand and I was just like, oh my god, that looks really cozy and really stunning, and I love when you can read cozy fantasy as an audiobook. I think as a genre it's just really well fitted for audio because it's like a cozy time and you get transported there, but it's not so high stakes that if you were to miss anything that you would not know what is going on, so that's perfect. So the book is set in 1846 and it's about a writer who's estranged from his family and he inherits this house in a bay. It seems that the house is kind of sentient and like magical because it will not let him leave once he arrives, and it's been uninhabited for a really long time and he had expected to go live there, but I think this is not what he had seen coming. Huldah Larkin of the Boston Institute for the Keeping of Enchanted Rooms has been trained in taming such structures in order to preserve their historical and magical significance. So it has magical bureaucracy as well, which is one of my favourite things in books. I know it's so oddly specific, but I just love when there's like a magical government. So there's a magical body for magical houses and sentient houses and like structures like this is really cool. I'm excited to see what they do with that in the book. She advises that it's in Merritt's best interest to make Wimbrel House their ally. Okay, so it seems this Huldah is going to move in with Merritt and they have to make the house cooperate together. This sounds extremely cozy and so cute, and I love when there's multiple magical rooms as well, like secret hallways, so sounds right up my alley. Perfect recommendation. Thank you so much. Somebody says definitely In the Company of Witches. I agree. This was one of my favourite books that I read last year. I've recommended it a lot on this channel, so I'll try to keep it a little bit short because if you watch me regularly, you might have heard me talk about this already, but it's really good. You need to read it. If you need more convincing, I'm here to do just that. This is a cozy mystery set in an I keep saying Airbnb, but it's like a bed and breakfast, not an Airbnb. That would be so much less cozy. So this is a cozy mystery set in a bed and breakfast, and it's run by 3 witches, Bryn and her 2 aunts. And they all live in this sleepy town called Evanfall, and they've always used their magic to make the little town thrive and everything go right. And then this awful guest comes to stay at their little bed and breakfast, and she dies while there. She's being murdered. So one of the aunts, Nora, this really extravagant, like kind of quirky witch, is being suspected of the murder, but she did not do it. Now Bryn Warren, our main girlie, our main witch, can talk to ghosts. That's her witchy power, but she has not used that witchy power since her husband died because she's still grieving. It's really difficult. And so this book is all about her overcoming that and learning to open herself up again to the world and her powers, and maybe even solving a murder with those powers. So this is such a cozy book and it was lovely. I enjoyed it so much. Okay, my best friend also responded to this story and she said, garden spells, finally go read it. Yes, I'm sorry, I have not read it, but I will. I will read it. I borrowed this from her and I still have not read it, and I presume she wants it back, or mostly she just wants me to experience the joy that is this novel, because so many of you guys love it as well. Like every time I whip it out and talk about it, everybody's like, oh my god, I love Sarah Addison Allen and that book is so wonderful. So I do need to read that. So I think next time when the cozy fantasy mood hits me, this is what I'll be picking up. So again, there's a family of witches. I just love a family of witches. We have the Warrens, but in this book we have the Waverleys. The Waverleys have always been a curious family, endowed with peculiar gifts that make them outsiders in their hometown of Bascom, North Carolina. Even their garden has a reputation. A successful caterer, Claire Waverley prepares dishes made with her mystical plants, from the nasturtiums that aid in keeping secrets, to the snapdragons intended to discourage the attentions of her amorous neighbour. Meanwhile, her elderly cousin Evanel distributes unexpected presents whose uses become uncannily clear. They are the last of the Waverleys, except for Claire's rebellious sister, Sydney, who fled Bascom the moment she could, abandoning Claire as their own mother had years before. When Sydney suddenly returns home with a young daughter of her own, Claire's quiet life is turned upside down. Together again in the house they grew up in, Sydney takes stock of all she left behind. Soon the sisters realise they must deal with their common legacy, if they are ever to feel at home in Bascom or with each other. This just sounds so practical magic-esque, but also extremely cozy and like such a beautiful story, and the cover is beautiful. There's two covers for this. I think this is the old cover. I don't like the new one, but I like this one best. This one is so cute and I love the colours. Very much spring vibe, so perfect to pick up in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, I'm really excited and I really need to read this because it sounds amazing. Now, I see that quite a lot of people have commented Tress of the Emerald Sea to my story, so let's see. I did not know that was cozy fantasy. I was not aware. Oh, the cover is so pretty. I'm obsessed with that. Oh, that's so cute. I've loved Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. It's one of my favourite novels of all time. I just think it's so good and so enjoyable. And so if this is cozy fantasy by Brandon Sanderson, sign me up. I'm reading it. So we follow Tress, and Tress has always lived this life on an island. She's listening to stories told to her by pirates. She's going over the beach, collecting little cups and things, and she has a wonderful life. But then one of her friends, Charlie, is being taken away by his father to go on a voyage, and they disappear. So of course, Tress has to know what's going on, so she stows away on a ship and goes on this adventure filled with pirates, stormy seas, and scary situations. So that sounds amazing. It's been so long since I've read a good fantasy pirate novel, so I'm really excited to read this. That sounds so good. I need to get my hands on that. Maybe I can check it out on audio. That would be great. I love audiobooks. I just really enjoy audiobooks, and my new hobby has been puzzling and listening to an audiobook at the same time. So that's perfect. So this sounds really, really good, but maybe I should get an edition anyway, because you know, I love Brandon Sanderson, although I did read one of his other books this summer. What is it called again? The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. And I didn't really enjoy that. That was kind of a letdown for me. So that makes it a little bit more high stakes because we don't know if I like this one, but it sounds really good. So thank you for that recommendation. I see a lot of mentions of Garlic and the Vampire as well, like at least 3 mentions. So I need to look that up too. I think this is a graphic novel. I've heard about it before, but I am not sure. Oh, that is adorable. Okay, so this is Garlic and the Vampire by Bree Paulson, and in this we follow a little Garlic. So cute. I want to read it right away. This little Garlic has a lot of anxiety. She's me. And she feels like she's constantly doing things wrong. I'm not sure if it's a she. I just relate it to them. So I was like, it's a she. Oh, it's a she. Okay. So Garlic, alongside with her friend Carrot and the kindly witch Agnes, is tending to her garden, living a good life. Everything is well and beautiful. But then one day a vampire moves into the nearby castle and everything starts going awry. And everybody's like, Garlic, you're the obvious choice to confront the vampire because you're a garlic and vampires hate garlic. So then Garlic has to overcome their fears and confront the vampire, and she's braver than she thinks she is what the synopsis says. I hope I can read this on Everand because I always love reading graphic novels on my iPad because it's much easier. This just sounds like an amazing story and one that I'll really enjoy because one of my favorite graphic novels is The Tea Dragon Society, and that is also just really cute and wholesome, and that's my favorite type of graphic novel and story in general. now. So yeah, I should definitely pick this up. That's a great recommendation. Next up on the list, I see several people talking about Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I've just finished recently. I made a whole reading vlog with this one and Divine Rivals, so if you would like to see that, check it out. I never know where to point, but yeah, I would love for you to check out my reading vlog. So this is all about a professor who studies fairies, and she's writing this gigantic encyclopedia of fairies, and she travels to this sort of Iceland-esque Scandinavian country to study the fairies there. It's such a heartwarming story. She has a wonderful chemistry with the main guy who travels after her to help her with her studies, but they're kind of like rival professors back home. So if you like Bones, their dynamic really reminded me of Seeley Booth and Dr. Brennan, and I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I thought their dynamic was really good. I thought the creepy fairies were really interesting. The folklore was really interesting. It is not a book that has like one set plot that it follows through on like a lot of fantasies do. It's more sort of like, it almost reads like a short story collection with an ongoing storyline because it has sort of several little adventures and wrapped in it. So that's something that would appeal to you. I do recommend it. But if you prefer like the classic storyline that has like a climax and a third act conflict, then maybe this is not what you're looking for. But I really loved it, and just the fairy vibes and the winter vibes, it was really good. Okay, Little Witch Academia. I actually own that because my sister gave it to me for my birthday. Have not read it, but I have heard from several people that this is kind of difficult to follow if you have not watched the anime. And now I have watched the anime, but like such a long time ago that I'm not sure how much my memory still holds of the storyline, but this just looks so cute. So I do really want to get into it, and you know, if I don't understand it, I'll just be like, oh, it's fine. I'll just read it anyway, even if I'm not sure what's going on. So we follow Akko, and she's the only student at the Luna Nova Witchcraft Academy who does not come from a magical family, but she's really excited to study there because Shiny Chariot, one of her idols, has also studied at that school before. It says here, giving up isn't in her vocabulary. Whether it's making friends, proving the doubters wrong, or just flying a broom, Akko is going to make her fantasy a reality. I wish that was me. I would love to go to a magical witchcraft academy. Somebody recommended Paybacks, a Witch by Lana Harper, which is also a book I own. I don't have it here with me currently, but I do own it. So that is definitely on my TBR. So let's see what this recommendation is all about. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina meets the L word in this fresh, sizzling rom-com by Lana Harper. I didn't know it was sapphic. I just love like the witchy town names, like Thistle Grove. I wish I was from Thistle Grove. That sounds so magical. In this story, we follow Emmy Harlow, and she's a witch, but not a very powerful witch, but that's mostly because she has not been to her hometown of Thistle Grove in quite a while, and this is a self-imposed exile because of a really bad breakup, and also to do because of a complicated family history. And then this really big spellcasting tournament is set to happen, and so she decides to go back to help her family. And when she gets there, she's confronted with all these ghosts of her past and all these characters that she had left behind. Her bad breakup was with Gareth Blackmore, who was cheating on her, and she's kind of looking out for revenge. But then on the first night, when she's back home, she runs into Talia, and Talia is this really cool dark witch. Sounds amazing. And she's also fresh off from a breakup with this awful Gareth Blackmore man. So yeah, there's tension between her and Talia. And I don't know where it's gonna go, but this sounds so good. Why can't she stop thinking about the terrifyingly competent, devastatingly gorgeous, wickedly charming Talia Avramov? I don't know. Maybe it's romance. This has a lot of good reviews. And there's also ghosts in this book, and I love me a witchy ghost book, so I'm really excited to dive into this. I think I left it at my parents' house, but I'll pick it up soon because that sounds like something I need to read. I think those were all of my, well, your cozy fantasy recommendations for today, actually. I am very happy that you guys wanted to share some of your favorite cozy fantasy reads with me. That's really wonderful, and it's kind of like a switcheroo of the roles, so I think that's really fun. If you guys have any further cozy fantasy recommendations for me, definitely leave them in the comments down below, so when I decide to make another one of these videos, I already have some recommendations. That would be wonderful. And of course, it's always nice to see your comments. If you don't know what to comment, leave me a nice cozy fantasy emoji. That could be anything. I'm looking forward to see your creativity in that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my socials and my web shop where I sell my art. It's very cozy fantasy-esque, so you might really enjoy it. And yeah, I hope to see all of you in my next video. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!